Hello, my name is Tom Bridge. I'm here today to present on behalf of the MacAdmins Foundation. I'd like to also welcome my fellow board members who are in attendance today, and our volunteers and our donors. From my right to your left, nope, strike that, reverse it. From my right to your right, Becky Scott, Becca Latimer, Chris Daw, John Malman, and Aaron Merchant. And again, I'm Tom Bridge. I'd like to thank also, we've got some volunteers who have been, very instrumental to the MacAdmins community in the room, as well as our former chair emeritus, are you still a chair emeritus? Can we be emeriti?
I am technically emeritus still.
You are emeritus still. That is correct. Meritorious service has been acknowledged by Bree Coy, who is our founderess in the back right corner. And Booth Babe Emeritus. Thank you.
I don't think you're done being Booth Babe.
Yeah, that's true. That's an ever-present title. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today to talk a little bit about the MacAdmins Foundation, especially when we are here on the very auspicious, he says, clicking and hoping it works. There it goes. It's really hard to believe that it's been 10 years since the MacAdmins Slack started. May 12th, 2015, Sabrina Coy and Kitsy started the instance and began to invite their friends who invited their friends who invited their friends and their neighbors and their puppies and kittens, and who invited Twitter, and at the time it was still Twitter. We started to build a place. And it's hard to express just how amazing the last decade has been of the collaboration of MacAdmins throughout the world, who have kind of taken on that banner of the MacAdmins community and to work towards the betterment of all of the MacAdmin kind. So I do want to talk a little bit about our agenda today. We've got some stuff that we want to cover. I want to give you, for those of you, so who here is new to the concept of the MacAdmins Foundation? I see some hands. Fantastic. Thank you. Welcome. We're glad you're here. When I came in, this lovely sign said, "Welcome. It's good to see you." And I was like, "Thank you." And then I added, "We're glad that you are here because you are, all of us, are the MacAdmins community together." I'm also here to talk about what is the future of the MacAdmins Foundation. I also want to talk about what the community needs. And then I want to talk about the future and provide a call to arms, because I feel like good sessions come with something that you can take home and something that you can take on as a result. So as a result, we are going to start with a quick summary of who the MacAdmins Foundation are. And actually, I have animations for all of our lovely board members who have joined us over the last couple of years. Here is, the MacAdmins board as it stands with their memojis. From upper left all the way around to Aaron on the left-hand side of the slide. That is Diego Iaconelli, who is our treasurer, who's based in the UK at Anthropic. Becky Scott, who joins us as a board member. Becca Latimer, who is our secretary. Chris Daw, who is our co-chair. Colin Elliott, who is unfortunately not with us this week, who is at Capital One. Gerard Massey, who is at Bezos Academy. There's me. And then John Malman from Leidos, and Aaron Merchant, as well as our other co-chair. So we are all thrilled, with the hardworking volunteers, to make who MAF is. I want to start with where we started. When we got together in 2021 to create the nonprofit entity, we started by saying, well, what's the job? And we kind of defined ourselves by our committee structure. We end up with a finance committee to make sure that none of us went to jail for tax evasion, the fundraising committee to make sure that there was money, a mentorship committee to make sure that we could have a professional development environment, conference planning for activities like this one, and scholarships for bringing people who are to the environment for their very first conference, and then the executive committee to kind of keep the wheels on the truck and keep us rolling down the track. It gave us some structure and some use, and it gave us a way to start a foundation. We decided there was some need for a change this year. And so we'll talk a little bit about that too. But when it comes to the programs that were tangible that the community could benefit from, this is the one that we felt was most pressing. Did anybody see the news within the last couple of months where there was the, I believe it was the Kubernetes Foundation, failed to negotiate with Salesforce on their Slack instance, and they might have lost it. They were bigger. They were 3 times our size. And for a minute, it looked like they might lose their Slack. And those were the moments where we felt suddenly very good about all of the work that we had done to have a relationship with Salesforce and Slack, because paying these bills has allowed us to keep the Slack free to everybody and up day to day with 10 years of history contained therein. That history is so amazing because you go searching through the Slack. If you search through that Slack, you find results, solutions, practical tips for 10 years worth of life for 78,000 people. That resource is massive. And so I'm happy to say that those bills got paid because of the work of the MacAdmins Foundation. And of course, you can see that it went up through 2024. I have some unfortunate news. I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but Slack raised its prices and has renegotiated aggressively with a lot of its customers to right-size their bills. And so 2025 was a very large bill, and 2026 shapes up to be larger even still. Now, this was before the AI price increase that we will have to deal with beginning in 2027. So the work of the foundation is clear, and that's to make sure that our community can stay in touch no matter where we are, whether that is Slack or something else. We have no intention of leaving Slack at this time, but obviously we have to make sure that the needs of the community are being met and that the fiscally responsible thing is done by the community. So, obviously we recognize that there are other solutions that might be possible. And so those are things that we might take on in the future. For now, we have no plans to leave. And so that is an important thing for everybody to recognize. So the other nice thing that came with renegotiating our contract with Slack is we actually got more tooling as part of that. We got some extra moderation tools for our moderators, especially those who need to moderate channels individually. And so we are excited that we have more tools to do a better job by our community. And we did that by negotiating and clearly talking with Slack and leveling with them straight out. We know that we are not your common customer base because it's meant to be used by businesses for business things. My favorite thing is if you sign into Slack, they're like, use your work email to sign in with Slack. We maybe don't necessarily want that because it draws up our tickets so that people, when they change jobs, need to change their email address. And if maybe they forgot about that before they left, suddenly we've got to have an admin go in and adjust their things. We might want everybody to sign in with their personal emails instead. Sadly, that feature was not one that they granted us. But we are a different kind of organization for them. Thankfully, we have a good relationship with our account manager and with all of the people that we talk with at Slack, and they understand how important we are as a community. So we also have scholarship and events. And we've had traditional presence at 3 conferences, of which this is one. The MacAduck conference in the UK, Penn State, or the MacAdmins conference at Penn State, and JNUC in the fall usually. We had 11 grants in 2024. This year already, we have already exceeded that number and have more planned for the rest of 2025. We've had 19 conference grants, and those are people who we pay to attend this conference and make sure that their expenses are covered because there are few things better than this week at Penn State or this week at JNUC or this week at MacAduck, because you see all the people who you see on Slack, and you get to hang out together, and these are important connections that we help build with each other to make ourselves a community. We had a new grant process when we talked about that here last year. We had some experimentation that needed to be done in order to make the process more secure and to make sure that the people who we give the sponsorships to are actually real people and not just bank accounts that accept money. Unfortunately, we learned that one the hard way. However, those processes make us a better organization, and they lead to a more rich community as part of that process. In addition, in 2024, we started our mentorship program with a pilot. We did 20 mentor-mentee pairs. Here you can see Sam on the left and David on the right. This is the 2 of them actually getting together physically in London, where Sam is based, and David visits often. And we will have a new class of mentors and mentees later this fall. We're excited to take all of the lessons that we learned from our first version of that program and expand the program for a larger audience based on more clear results that we've had as part of our trial. We all do proof of concepts at work. We did a proof of concept with our mentorship program. We'll be applying those learnings as we go forward. So the big question is, what happens now? We're 10 years into Slack. We're 4 years into the nonprofit entity and paying for Slack on our own. The board started to think about where we are and where we're going, and what better way, because no good project starts without a road trip. And we spent a week together, or long weekend together in February in Durham, North Carolina. And so, a bunch of us got in our cars, several people got on airplanes. Unfortunately, a couple people got COVID and couldn't join us. But 7 of the 9 of us made it to Durham, and the other 2 joined us by Zoom. And what followed was a really frank and sober discussion about the last couple years. It was a very important conversation around an analysis of our skills and our abilities with regards to what our needs are for the future. What came out of that meeting was a clear vision for the future of the foundation, as seen through the lens of serving our community writ large. And that vision is here. We believe in a kinder, gentler IT community. We believe in a truly global community, and we believe that MAF provides enablement, funding, facilitation, and programming that levels the playing field for new people in our community. And that process of setting up our vision for the future helps us establish a couple of key hallmark programs that we have as part of that process. We want to become a truly global community. Right now, we are a U.S. entity based in the United States. We qualify under U.S. tax law for nonprofit status. There are a whole lot of MAC-admins outside of the United States. I know that we have people here this week from Australia, from Canada, from all over Europe. And it's really exciting to know that there is a huge community of MAC-admins everywhere. As part of that, we also recognize that there's more enablement that we need to do as a foundation, providing funding and facilitation and programming that levels that playing field for IT and helps skill up the people that we want to be in our seats in the future. A lot of the conversations that I've had as part of starting this foundation go back to a conversation I had with Anthony Reimer, who's here from the University of Calgary. And this would have been 5 or 6 years ago when Anthony and I started talking about this, and he mentioned very clearly, he's like, I intend to retire from this job that I am in now. But I need to find someone who will take that role on for the future. And where do I even start? And those conversations stick in my mind because I don't want to do this forever. I want to at some point be done. And I think we all kind of do, right? Like I'll work till I die, no doubt. But will I work on this? Probably not. I find I look forward to rest. I feel like rest is invigorating in its own. Not allowed, Weldon? Okay, I understand. That's fair. That's fair. But what we need to build as a foundation, as a community, requires us to host, develop, and ideate on educational industry content for new people to carry on those same vision goals, because those have to be long-term goals for our community. And they have to serve the community writ large through every generation that follows. We want this feeling of being here to be a feeling that is always available to the people who do what it is that we do. We are in service to our organizations. Chances are we are not profit-making parts of our companies. We are, in fact, cost centers in a lot of ways, except for the part where we are accelerants and that we are exponential growth for our companies. And so while some people may see us as cost centers, we can say, I'm sorry, we're actually here to grow this organization through the exponential application of the technologies that we support. And that growing that environment is a huge part of being in community together. So the last sentence that is up here, because I feel like it's also important to recognize that if we do those 3 things at the top, what we get is the result at the bottom. If we succeed at building a kinder, gentler IT community that is truly global and provides enablement funding, facilitation, and programming, then we will have a pipeline of new MacAdmins that is diverse, networked with industry leaders, with accessible resources and support. We strongly believe in this mission, and we think it's critical to our communication, to our community's success. So you might be thinking right about now, neat, cool, how? Because that's what we started to think about also. We got some good goals. How do we get there? And the answer is, this really breaks out to 5 strategic goals for the organization. It breaks out to 5 goals that we, called, item and item, I think is how it worked out. We had some really solid facilitation help from our consultant, Andy Fife, and he's very good at, creating items that involve ampersands. And we ended up with 5. We end up with convene and connect. We want to expand the breadth and depth of the MacAdmins community through support to local networks and events, investment in national and international in-person conferences like this one, and development of the online community that we all hold dear. Enable and support is there to increase the size, strength, and diversity of the professionals in the sector by expanding career pipelines, removing barriers to access and entry, and providing resources to new and early career IT professionals. I was once a help desk 1. My job was to make sure the printer had paper, right? Like so many of those early IT jobs are there to make sure something just didn't catch fire. And you oftentimes learn the second round of skills from that first round of skills. We want to make sure that those people have opportunities to grow and develop as part of that process. The third of those goals is publish and advocate. We want to guide and inform the institutions and leaders of the IT industry overall through targeted investments in regular industry-wide research and reporting, publications, and advocacy. That is fighting for every last person in this room and the people that will follow us in the future to make sure that there are good paying jobs with skills, with opportunities, and that we can fight for their future too, because we need to be able to say, when I step back, there is someone ready to step into my seat. Or when I change jobs, there is someone who is ready to take on that responsibility. In addition, we want position and promote. And this is about raising the level of awareness and respect for the MacAdmins Foundation as a critical leader and resource within the industry through investments in marketing strategy, all sorts of other good things in those spaces, public relations, branding, design, and promotions and things. So I see many t-shirts out there, from 10th anniversary t-shirts to macOS contains a built-in screen reader called VoiceOver. And that's a part of raising the profile of the organization as well. And of course, we also have the last goal, which is nurture and sustain. And that's developing a healthy and sustainable, because we want to make sustainable a big part of that. We could all kill ourselves to do these things, but that's not sustainable. Through long-term organizational development, volunteer recruitment, robust management capacity, and facilitation of individual and corporate philanthropy, as well as effective administration and governments. See also the not going to jail for tax evasion part. Very, very important. So let's talk a little bit about Convene and Connect, because I think that this one gets us an opportunity to talk about something that's very, very tangible and that really puts us all together. Who here logs into Slack every day? You are part of our wonderful audience of people that check out what's happening in our community, made friends there, learned there, built there, done all sorts of incredible things there. We also, who here goes to their local meetup group if they have one? Fewer hands. We want to make sure there are more meetup groups for folks to go to. And that means recruiting and sustaining meetup groups throughout the world, not just the United States, not just in the large metros, but that folks have an opportunity for a place to be in community with their people, which in that case is all of us. We also want to make sure the Slack workspace is an appropriate place for us to be. And it may not be forever, but it is for now. We also want to be here at these great conferences and having a great opportunity to talk with sponsors, talk with other people, share ideas, build the future. That's really what Convene and Connect is here for. When it comes to enable and support, We really want to be there for mentorship, for conference grants, and for professional development. Those are the three big tiers underneath that particular goal. And I was going to say, I see some of our scholars from this conference. I see some of our scholars from past conferences. It brings me so much joy to know that you are all here with us today, because in many ways, you are the future of this organization also. And we want to make sure that there is a great big class of people who follow on, not just this year, not just next year, but every year for years to come. When it comes to publish and advocate, there's a lot of industrial advocacy that needs to happen as part of our community. Sometimes that's advocacy of what makes good features in MDMs. Who here has filled out feedback recently? That's more hands than I was expecting. Well done. That means it's working. We know that that process is hard. And we know that that process can feel, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit like prayer, in that, prayers being answered is about as common as feedback. Maybe more so, I'm not sure. But that also means that we get to advocate for people outside of our immediate community and organizations. We've had several open letters over the years that have come from the Mac Admins Foundation to conference organizers, to vendors, to treat their people well, to treat our people well, and to recognize the future of the organization's skills are there. And it's also here to gather and provide resources for research and for organizing and advocacy. We've got some really great ideas. We want to hear more about that in the future. We'll have a lot more to say about this particular tier in the future. Of course, position and promote is all about how we talk about the Mac Admins Foundation and the agency that we give to all of you. It's fun. I see 4 straight 10-year anniversaries here. It's right here. This is awesome. Thank you guys for repping the brand. Everyone here should feel able to say that they're part of the Mac Admins Foundation, and we want everybody to feel that identity and to hold that identity and hold that pride and identity as part of that process. And then, of course, nurture and sustain is the really tricky part, which is recruiting new volunteers and making sure that they have what they need to volunteer on behalf of the organization. We'll talk more about that in the future. Of course, we got to fundraise. We have to ask people like Weldon for a donation and say thank you on behalf of the MAF for Kanji's support of the Mac Admins community, as well as for all of our other sponsors who helped us keep the lights on for Slack and for all of the programs that we operate. And of course, that's also the finance committee, which again, about not going to jail. I really don't think I would do good there. So let's make sure that I don't. So this is where we land in 2025. We started with one version of the committee structure, and now we end up with another. That helps us organize the people into more coherent groups. We're really excited about what this means for the future. But as we turn the corner on all of this, we can start to think about, well, how many people are out there? When we started this process of starting the nonprofit, there were 25 to 30,000 people with Slack accounts. Today, that account is more than double that, slightly less than triple that. We're not over 80 yet. It's at 78,067 as of an hour ago.
End of August.
Yeah, it looks like end of August for 80,000, which is amazing. That is 20,000 more people than live in my hometown. I grew up in Davis, California, population roughly 60,000 when school's not in session at the university. Excuse me. Of that 78,000, there are 6,000 weekly active members. So around 6,000 people are logged in every single week. And if you change that number to monthly, it's just shy of 10,000. We have broken 12,000 before, and who can guess when that happens? Who can guess where the peak is in? It's not renewal, so thankfully. It's the release of the new operating system. So September, when the new releases come out, it's like the Swallows back to Capistrano, and every Mac admin comes home. As we all, learn to deal with the new experiences that the latest versions of the operating systems provide us. It goes on an uptick starting right about now, and so we will uptick again all the way from now until September. Now, the good news is, again, we don't have to pay for 78,000 licenses. In fact, we don't have to pay for all of the monthly active members. There's a weird blended rate thing happening. We've discovered that and we probably should have known this, that enterprise software pricing is a lot like the rules to Whose Line Is It Anyway? The values are made up and the points don't matter. You just got to make sure that there's an appropriate number of zeros on the end of the check and everything works out. Or the ACH transaction in most cases now. So there's another huge thing that we came out of the conversation in February with. And I want to underscore this because a lot of people have asked us this question. Are you ever going to charge for Slack? Here is the answer. Access to the MacAdmins community and the MacAdmins Slack will and shall remain free. Because there should be no barrier to entry to be part of this community. We have a key job to hold. This is what we fight for first and always. So, contributing will not be mandatory in the future. Now, I'd really like it if you did contribute. That would be rad. But contributions can take many different shapes and sizes. Who bought a raffle ticket this week? Yay, thank you, you contributed. Who bought a t-shirt? Lots of hands go up. Thank you, as always, for your support. We also do have a recurring donation program with perks. I have John Malman did a very excellent job with PassKit, and I get a little pass on my phone whenever I'm at a MacAdmins conference, and that's mostly due to the work that John has done with PassKit. And so you got a wallet card, and of course, if you come and see me, now I don't have them on my person right now, I do have member-only stickers if you show me your PassKit card. They are secret stickers. So I'm just saying that, you might want to come see me tomorrow when I've got my shoulder bag on. So you might be asking yourself, if you're not going to ask me for contributions, well, I am going to ask you for contributions. Hold on. Aaron uttered my two favorite words in the language, which are money, please. So you might be thinking, what do we need? We need you, and we need your support. So things can feel pretty bad these days. I don't know if everybody's felt that. I certainly feel that. There are a lot of people suffering out there right now. And it feels really chaotic out there in the world. And it often feels so much bigger than what our own efforts can change or what our own efforts can contribute to. And that's hard. Oftentimes, a lot of my mornings start with a little bit of doom scrolling. You wake up and you see damage report, what has happened overnight. Do I have any servers down? There's anything else gotten broken out there? That can set the tone for the day. And I've really tried to stop a lot of that doom scrolling, and I started to think a little bit about what that means. So there are ways to mitigate how the world feels. And you're in control of some of those things. It has never failed me to help people. And this is a community that loves to help each other. So many great open source projects, so many great people providing support for interesting solutions out there. So many different parts of this community are out there to help every last person they can. And so I start my day not doom scrolling on Instagram or Twitter or Blue Sky or any place else. I go start looking at Slack. One of the places that I look that gives me hope is the jobs board channel. And I go and I look and I see what people are posting in terms of, I have a job that I want to get someone in from this community. So I have another question to ask, because I know at least one of the answers is yes, from one of you. Who here has gotten a job because of what you do in the Slack? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One of the important things that you can do to put some good out into the world when the world feels bad is to lift someone else up and know that you have done a good thing. When it feels like everything's kind of spiraling out of control, you can volunteer on something that you care about. And that, I'll say a controversial thing, that doesn't have to be the MacAdmins community. It could be if you wanted it to be, but it doesn't have to be. I know. Sorry, you could tell I didn't discuss this with the board ahead of getting up here. That's right. We turn this all around through strengthening every one of our communities, not just this one, but everyone, with kindness, with intention, and with work. Every act of kindness, generosity of spirit, and work moves us closer to a world that is better and that is free of some of the things that are causing us to be out of control a little bit. This place is where I choose to put my energy. And there are lots of other places out there in the world that can use yours, including this one. And so with that, I want to throw a QR code up on the screen. This is a Google form. You can tell us how if you want to volunteer. We'd love your help because those 5 great committees are going to need a lot more people. There's only 9 people on the board. We want to fill those committees out as best we possibly can and to get those up into the double digits if we can, to kind of build this community for the long term. So from that perspective, as we've got a half hour to go, I do want to also leave up this wonderful page, which is our current donation page, and you can also get merch on our website by going here. And merch is right here, yay! But
See, the QR code works.
yeah. So with that in mind, the call to action that comes out of all of this is that all of us are smarter than just any of us. That's the best part about this community. None of us are as smart as all of us. And I deeply and abidingly love this community because of the spirit it brings to every conversation, which is how do we get stuff done? How do we do it as fast as we can? And how do we make sure that no one's left behind? Let us continue in that spirit. And from there, I will open up questions. I have a catch box. I promise I can promise I can try not to give anyone a concussion. So that's very thoughtful, yes. So if anybody's got a question about our programs or about the foundation or about how to help, I'm more than happy to toss. And we've got 6 board members here to help answer the question. Bree. Okay, I'm just going to come hand it to you. That's too far to throw.
Throw it at me.
Okay.
So you called me out at the beginning, so I'm going to call you out now. I just want to say thank you to every member of this board. Knowing that when I stepped away from all of this because I just couldn't do it anymore, that every single one of you was going to guide this community for the foreseeable future made my heart swell with happiness. I've been so grateful to watch what you've done and what you will do, and everyone hug a board member. Hug a board member with consent. Hug a board member.
Very important. Thank you, friend.
Who wants the box?
Oh, up front.
All right, this is a random one. When is the store going to have dog apparel?
That's a great question. I don't know, but I'll find out.
Okay, because Duchess needs something.
Okay.
And Dave will buy every dog product.
Okay. Excellent.
John, when are you getting on that?
Yeah, I'm literally putting a note in my phone about this now.
Yes, we do have a wonderful new partnership with our friends at Cotton Bureau, and the latest round of t-shirts have just been incredible. We really relish our relationship with them. They have been amazing to work with, stem to stern. So we had one person who got a t-shirt that was mal printed, and they were like, keep that, we're just sending you another one. And then there was a problem with the second one, different problem. And he wrote back in and said, hey, can you help me out? And so they were like, oh my God. And we will have a field supervisor make sure that order is right this time. And it was. So, and then all the way back. Okay. Ho!
Thanks for help. Thanks for the assist. See, that's community right there.
Yeah.
Charles just said it would be the Mutt Edmonds Foundation, and I just needed to make sure that I wasn't the only person who heard that. So
Okay.
John,
Molly.
yeah, John, get your phone.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so there was the Hollywood Squares answer, but also I know that you need people, all kinds of people for all kinds of things, but if you have like what is the largest or the most time sensitive thing, if people hear like I have all kinds of resource and need to point it in a direction, is there like a clear, obvious place to put it now?
So, yeah, we'll grab you a microphone here. Go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm gonna plug something for Becca, and then I'm gonna hand her the mic. The thing that we are always recruiting for is mentors and mentees. So building on just the conversation about what happens when we all decide that we want to retire or yeet ourselves into the sky, whichever comes first, is what are the experiences and the opportunities for the next generation of people, and also what skills development or what next steps do you all have in your career? So passing on to Becca, who is heading up this program, along with Graham Gilbert, who has been working on the resume review program here at PSU, and what we're thinking about doing next. We want you all to slot in there as fast as we can.
Yeah, hi, I'm Becca, if I don't know people here. But yeah, so I'm working on the mentorship program. We're going to have another cohort starting in the fall. We are always looking for volunteers for that, for mentors and mentees. You know, not just for yourself, but if you know somebody or if you have like a coworker that you think could really benefit from it, absolutely send them our way. The other thing that we also kind of need is volunteers to actually be on the committee itself, to kind of help out with the logistics of everything. It's a lot of work that goes into this with, you know, matching people up and, you know, making sure people are kind of like screened and everything. And so, yeah, if anybody wants to volunteer with the mentorship committee, it would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. And that's something where mentorship is such a unique experience that it does not require a deep and abiding, there's no program you have to go take. This is not something you need a master's in to go figure out. Every person here has been helped by somebody else at work. You just need to remember what that's like and be willing to help the next person that you talk to. So, and Aaron has another one.
I'm not like an adult. Like, I am not an example.
Is this still on?
Yes.
Yeah, it is still
No.
on. So another thing that we are seeing a need for and seeing a trend in is retirement of our Slack moderator and administration team. And we're going to be starting a drive to recruit new admins and moderators. It's currently an all-volunteer gig. It can be a very rewarding gig. It can also be a thankless task in some places. And so we're going to be looking to recruit new additions to the administration and moderation team to improve our coverage, improve our ability to kind of govern our community.
I would also be remiss if I didn't say money, please, more directly. But think about if your employers are willing to sponsor us or willing to provide donations, or if you do matching programs. All of those are great, great support for us. And then it doesn't necessarily have to come out of your pocket. Additionally, one of the things that we've actually been looking at is other ways that we can do life cycle. If you are reviving customers, we've been working with them more closely to provide donations to us as well. So if you use their amazing products, I am also technically a client of theirs on and off throughout the years, but that is also an opportunity for you to do some give back directly to us.
Oh, we got a couple other questions?
That's fair. So I had a question. How would you go about starting like one of the local meetup groups? Because like we were talking to someone for like a Cleveland one.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm going to jump on this one because I have long experience that is currently not active managing a group in the Seattle area. And we spent a long time spinning that up in a sort of informal way, and the way that started was for drinking companions that developed a tendency to meet every Thursday for beers after work into something more formal. And the only thing that I can suggest, and the way that I found this worked really well in the Seattle market, is you do two things. One is you set a regular cadence that is frequent enough that if a person misses a meetup, that they don't feel like they have missed out on the organization. We went with monthly because we felt quarterly was too infrequent. Somebody missed a quarterly meetup, then what they were going to do is they were going to miss out on a meetup for 6 months.
Right.
Why even come at that point? And then the other thing you can do is simply begin.
Okay.
You know, don't wait until you have the problem solved. Don't wait until you have a scheduling application or a website. Find out if you have a regional or a city channel in the Slack that you can announce in. Set a location and show up there.
And I think the important recognition of all of those things is that it's, you know, the proverb about planting trees. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is literally right now. And that is true for meetup groups. And just keep trying.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. And like Chris said, you know, when we started the foundation, like we had an inkling. And then it was, well, let's see what we can do here. And that's the best way to go forward. John?
I'm just going to add a couple things. So I run the Philly Macamins. We are one of the longest running, as far as we know, standalone groups. We're 10 years old this year. Mike started it. Mike helped with Surge. I don't think so. But yeah. So we started about 10 years ago. I joined him in 2017. And yeah, as Chris said, set a cadence, set a location. You know, if nobody if only your 3 people that you're starting it with show up, that's fine. Keep doing it.
Okay.
It will get easy. It will get more traction as time goes on. You'll have ebbs and flows, you know, but you'll find something that works. Like Chris also said, if you have a channel for your regional group, use that. If not, start one and invite people. Hey, you know, the Philly group, we have a lot of members in that channel. That's how we get it out. We get people from Tom visits us often, Chad visits us often, a couple people, you know, outside of the realm. And the other thing is part of what we're trying to do as well is trying to get speakers together with groups. And the way we're trying to look at that is we're trying to bring small groups or groups that haven't started yet or that are thinking of starting. We're trying to get them names to come there and speak. We're trying to do that with a little bit of a partnership with Fleet. We were working with them to bring people to these groups. We're also trying to get small speakers. I'm using small in air quotes here. People that might be new to speaking but have something really cool to talk about, to large groups where maybe they don't know about this person. And hey, you know, we'll bring you in and see if you want to speak. So, you know, those are opportunities that we're going to be having throughout the years as we can. This year, you know, it's Fleet that's helping us with it. Maybe next year it's another, maybe it's Fleet again, maybe it's somebody else. But, you know, just if you keep at it, it will really grow. It'll just really get bigger every year.
Keep me in the loop. I'd come to Cleveland.
Okay.
We'd be happy to support you starting.
Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
absolutely. Back in the court? Oh, sorry. Oh, we got one more here.
And then we've got one
Yep.
So earlier on, you mentioned a desire to expand beyond the U.S. and Europe.
Yes. Well, the U.S. right now, which is where we are.
Can you speak to any of the ongoing or future, not necessarily goals, but plans? Like, is there anything that you can talk about on that of what's coming?
Well, my favorite story is always when you ask Apple a question, the answer is we don't talk about the future. And I always think that that answer is both fair and BS at the same time. And so do we have tangible plans? I think it's hard to say. Because like, I can't tell you that we're going to form a company in Belgium. And then we'll have a EU entity and go from there. I can tell you that we've been having initial conversations with some folks over there about who might be willing to serve on the corporate entity that needs to do that, as well as, you know, some initial conversations with them like, hey, do you have a lawyer over there that would help us do those kind of things? But I think beyond the question of how do we do this, I don't think we have a really great answer about how soon or how large.
I can make this akin to international logistics, hard, complicated, not without customs. So like the community already exists. Let's also just be clear about that, right? Like we are technically already a multilingual, multinational, international community. We understand that that is also a barrier to existing. Most of us are all native English speakers. That is our first language. We are generally based in the US. Hilariously, our treasurer is based in the UK, which just adds like a whole other level of complexity.
It also means he's out of reach of extradition treaties.
Yeah, I was going to say, so in terms of
that
the,
going for us.
yeah. Right. Somebody else who signed some paperwork is screwed. We are working on these. It is hard to put a date on it, and I don't want that to be an obfuscation of an answer, but right, like we do have some literal logistical issues that we need to work out. A lot of them does have to do with paperwork. But if there is a general interest, if there is a better way that we can be serving those communities in the ways that we have available to us right now, please tell us. I would love to hear your ideas on that. We would love to hear your ideas on that. We want to make sure that we're doing this equitably, and that includes all the ways that we see equity and inequity or just differences amongst us, as well as the ones that we don't obviously notice because I'm only one person and I am only one kind of person. So if there's areas that we could be focusing on more, please do reach out to us. And we do really have a strong motive and a strong motion towards being a fully international organization. It is part of our strategic plan. It is also part of the literal mission statement of the organization.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. John, you want to relay?
Do you have open beverages over there?
All right, cool. Maybe I should stand. I am Alex. I'm with the South Florida Mac Admins, actually.
Woo!
So this is a little bit of a fake out because it wasn't actually a question. I just wanted to add on to his question. When it comes to organization, or starting a group, ours literally started because a Apple SE, kind of just was like, oh, I'm in town. I'm gonna just have people meet up, and it was a couple, I think 1 or 2 people. By the time I started going, it was still only 3 people that were showing up. And what we found was honestly just, again, the cadence helps. We're still kind of going through that process of it's a little bit of a struggle. But what we also found was find any vendors that are in the area that might want to partner as well. So we have Kanji with us. We have Adigy's office that are nearby, and so and Jamf as well have kind of stepped up to offer spaces where we can actually meet up. But honestly, before all that, it was just us going to a Buddha beer bar and being hey, we're meeting up. We're maybe we should do a little bit more than just drinking, and so we're that's a little bit more than that, right? So we actually recently we had a session where Eric we were hosted at Kanji's office in Miami, and Eric actually did a presentation. And Apple SE did a presentation as well. So it's slowly growing. It's taking time, and we're still having issues getting the community together on it. But we're still trying, and I'm going to be taking the advice that y'all have been given as well. So. Anyone else? Oh no, 2 people.
Oh wait.
All right, I think you were first.
Hey, after this great presentation, loved it. The 5 item list that you have. Will there be a write up on that goes deeper into each of those after this? Or
Excuse me. Let me see here. Did I turn off my? No, I am on. Our communications committee is responsible for releasing a version of the 5-year plan that we wrote, I guess it's a long-term plan. I don't think we really put a number of years on it. But we intend to publish a version of that. For now, this is the presentation of Zane. The slides will be available with speaker notes probably later today.
Cool.
But in the future, where we stand in terms of reporting, we intend to make that more public.
If you want a recap of it too, you can reach out to any of us.
Yep.
Or just re-ask us the question in the Slack, and we'd be happy to chat.
Cool. Yes, for sure.
And yeah.
We also plan to use those names for 5 farm-to-table restaurants located in specific cities.
Well, I was going to say number 6 could be Dave and Buster's as well.
I mean,
as an extra.
I'm going to be running Nurture and Sustain. I don't know what the rest of you are going to be doing. So.
I did also want to just share a quick success story for our Nashville Mac Admins group. I just got my recent job that I've been in from that group specifically, meeting someone there. So, and I haven't been, happier at a job. So it's an awesome community.
That's awesome.
One thing to add, if you want to, we do have a Mac Admins Foundation channel in Slack. If you're not part of it,
sweet,
get in there.
Right in front of you, Bill.
Thank you much.
Alrighty, hi everybody. I like to tell everybody that I am from a little startup in Minnesota called Jamp. I do want to say that we internally at Jamp do have a program for community to support communities. So if anybody that is trying to start something up, we've got support for you, and that includes money.
Yes.
We just actually had a Twin Cities Mac Admins meetup back in June, and based off of what we the attendance that we had, or the attendance that we were told we would have, obviously there's usually about 60% decline between people who say they'll show up and don't. But I mean, they paid for that one event. They just paid for the food. It was like $380. That's a great attractor. Food is a wonderful attractor.
Yep.
And also, again, you don't have to mention us. You don't even have to say it. We are here to just simply support.
Yes.
And I'm glad you brought that up too. The McAdmins Foundation does work with Jamf and Joanna and
yes.
Kanji, and we work with all the NDM vendors out there. But we have calls. We worked with Joanna on the she's on the what is it? Community team to discuss some things too with them. So it's very good. Yeah, she was
She's
actually
a delight.
here.
Come catch her at the booth at the Jeff booth.
Yeah.
So.
The other community thing I will tell you, I'm from Portland, and a thing that apparently is weird to the rest of the world is that we love to hang out. You cannot string a strip of bacon in that town without hitting a bunch of people with their laptops out doing a thing. Doesn't matter what it is. I helped build a community called Beer and Blog that ran for a lot of years, that just started with somebody saying, everybody wants me to help them with their website. Come down to this brew pub. I will be there on Friday with my laptop. Buy me a beer and I will help you fix the thing. That's how Beer and Blog started. We ended up with them all over the world. There was one that met in Tokyo for a couple of years. So I did that. I helped build WordCamp. I have a lot of ideas for you. A thing I will say is that a lot of companies will find something like, would you front for snacks at a thing, can come out of a marketing budget. And so if you, I presume you work at a place, and you probably know a couple of other people who work at places, and sometimes those places have money for exactly this kind of thing and don't always have a good place to point it. And so a couple of times we've had the McAdmins meetups in Portland and stuff, and a couple of times it's been just a question of somebody at work going to somebody in marketing or whatever and going, yeah, we're trying to do this thing. And they're like, yeah, because in the grand scheme of the marketing budget, we're going to go put $200 down for appetizers for a bunch of nerds to get together and hang out, is a very, very easy sell. And if you come at it from that angle, sometimes that can be really helpful. And play to your strengths. Shocker, Portland loves beer. So we get together at brew pubs, and we get together at places where we have food cart pods and stuff. If you have something like that people like to do, that's an easy place to get people to congregate, start there. And I will talk to you about this later as long as you want to hear me talk about it. My workshop was about community, so contributing to community. So I have a lot of mileage I can give you there.
It was awesome.
Thank you.
Cool.
I'll Venmo you.
My question / suggestion for the board is, there are a lot of Mac admins that didn't come to Mac adminning from an IT background, or they are no longer in an IT background, but they still contribute to the community by hanging out and not doing whatever work they're doing now. Instead of hanging out on Slack. So what I'm getting at is, does the foundation, does the Slack, does the larger community have needs for, like you said, a lawyer, or someone who writes documentation or translates things into French and Italian and whatnot? Basically all those things that you have to pay somebody to do. Mm-hmm. Are those opportunities for someone who is, say, a legal translator or, a caterer or whatever, in addition to or, before or after their Mac admin career? Is that the sort of thing that you could volunteer as a, work in kind or do a pro bono kind of thing as your way of volunteering, contributing?
Yes.
So follow up.
Tell me more.
No, I'm not talking about me. I would be in jail as well. If you gave me the reins of anything involving money.
Noted.
But a wish list, an Amazon wish list of what we need this quarter to negotiate with Slack. Did you pay somebody to write the write contracts? Is that something that was a volunteer
there are a couple of
effort,
things
that kind of thing?
that we pay money for that I think we should continue to pay money for. And there are two things in very specific that I'm talking about. I'm talking about lawyers and I'm talking about accountants.
Yep.
Very
Both
much,
of those
yes.
we will continue to pay money for because, again, I do not have the physique for jail, and I do not want to acquire it. And I feel like those professional services we are more than happy to pay for, and we are possessed of a resource that lets us. In terms of people who want to volunteer their services for the community, we want to talk to them. That volunteer form has an option for other, and we really want to talk to other as much as we want to talk to people who want to volunteer for community.
Well, I'm happy to solder resistors on a circuit board, but I don't know that particular talent and passion of mine would be helpful to the community. If you had that as a need, sure, but I wouldn't know that from other.
Right.
Is there
we
a
are
list? Looking
No.
for, or we are currently paying X% of our budget to?
Go ahead, Maria.
We're not quite at we're not quite at paying staff, period, right? Yeah. Obviously that's a lot of the reason why we are looking for volunteers right now. There are 9 people on this board who are doing all of the work to bring as much as we can and as much of the things you all are asking for into the community. So that QR code is a great opportunity. Also, I don't know, I think it would be pretty kick-ass if you decided that you were going to teach other people how to solder at one of these meetups that we keep on talking about. So valuable skill. Another thing I will also plug in that same kind of sustainability, and that we are not the only people who dictate the way that you give back to the community that already exists. Answer the self-generated requests for information about job roles, titles, salary, compensation packages that exist in Jobs Chat. That's all community driven. We don't ask for that, and it's an amazing resource. Similarly, if you know that you want to develop something like that, share the information that you already have, share the skills that you already have, see if somebody else is interested in learning from you. I know this is all intrinsic and I'm absolutely pitching in a different direction. However, I'm going to lean on I don't know if anybody else watches Dropout TV, but I do. You got to begin by beginning. Okay, great. We're on the same page here. That's literally what this is. If you tell us the thing that you have, one of my personal passions is helping people find the best opportunities and the best roles and the best sneaky skills that they have. That's what I'm very passionate about within this community. There's a way that I can also help apply the crazy things that you all are capable of that I don't know about yet into our mission. So just tell us what those things are.
Yep.
And we'll find a place for it. And it may not be right now because we're still building this out, but it'll be in the future. I'll come knock on your door.
Yep. Becky?
And don't forget that if you have time to contribute, even if it's only a little bit, what Chris said earlier about moderation, we can train you on that, because being able to just watch a channel and help us moderate that is huge. Even if it's only an hour a week, we could really use that, and it just takes time, and you don't have to have a certain special skill, because it's not. We love people volunteering to help answer questions, because the technical questions are really helpful, but what we're asking for around moderators is more than that. It's about watching for when people are calling for help around an administrative task, or messaging someone and saying, hey, can you take it down a notch, and stuff like that. So those type of tasks are things that we need help with too. So if you've got time and you don't know exactly where you can contribute, hey, I've got something for you. So reach out.
Yeah, I want to make one last comment in terms of volunteers versus professionals. We feel pretty strongly, and I want to make sure that we as an organization are balancing both the need for volunteers and the need for volunteer labor with the respect for professional work in areas where the skills and experience are things that we as IT professionals may really not understand. In particular, we've paid some for design and branding work, and we feel like that has really benefited us, and we have paid for some professional services in terms of things like we partially paid for the coffee cart that you saw this week. We paid for some things at Macaduck. We this, that, and the other thing. So we try to be very careful with this and want to be very respectful of people who have skills and abilities. Thanks.
Thank you for your time.
Tom, do you need to wear it home from the store?
What?
Do you need to wear it home from
No.
the store?
All right. Oh, Dave, toss the box to Dave. Nice toss. Good toss.
Just based on your repeated comments about prison, is the foundation planning to support Mac admins that find themselves in prison?
Now,
This is neither investment nor legal advice.
So yeah, I was going to say, that, as Aaron mentions, this is neither legal advice nor is it financial advice. But I was going to say, certainly we recognize that life takes different paths for everybody, and that I was going to say a strong believer in redemption here. So I was going to say, I don't think any of us plan to go to jail, but I might see Stephen Miller on the street tomorrow. Who knows? So.
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me with a good time.
That's kind of a non-answer, but I think that's all we can come up with today.
Honestly, I think that's the best way to end it.
Yep, I think that's where we'll leave it. Thank you, everybody. It's been delightful.